Alright, so my brother Richard's been hard at it with that 88 Mustang. He's been filming a lot. I have not been helping him out by editing or anything like that. I've had this footage for a little bit, but I'm finally compiling it. He's picking up where he left off in the last video, which is, I think, fuel rail on that 88. So we'll let him show you what he does.
Alright guys, it's Saturday morning and making some progress with the 88. It was too cold to go race last night. Track up in section was closed, and down at Steel was closed too, just because it's too cold. So I was really hoping to make it down there, but I didn't. But still working on the 88, coming along, and I'll show you what I've done. So I've been putting the front of the motor back together this morning, and had to do a thermostat. It's always a little bit apprehensive about that, just because of my many failures in that area. Those dang things leaking. But once again, just touch on this is a super helpful hint. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you. But I use Allen heads. You can see that, yeah. I use Allen head bolts for my thermostat housing, and then I use an Allen wrench that has a ball end. Let's see, I see that. And it just makes it so much easier. Right here where it's up against the top of the timing cover and water pump, you can get in there, and with a ball end you can catch it on an angle. So that's a helpful hint. Just another little tip: if it's going into aluminum or anything that rusts or corrodes, I like to use anti-seize. Don't have any anti-seize, so I got some of this left over from some head bolts I put on. So yeah, if it's gonna go into aluminum or anything that's gonna rust, I like to put a little something on there, just a little extra good karma. Well, it's back together. Bolts are tight and brackets are back on. Got the belt on and pulleys. So it's back together, and what do? I take it back apart. So let's see here. I got my regulator on. Oh yeah, look at all that big fanciness. Anodized blue. That is racing awesome. Here's a little helpful hint. If you guys are still running AC on your cars, which I am, and it works. Fun fact. Fun fact for me. You take your little ratchet strap or a motorcycle strap and hook it on the hood, and then hook it up here with the latch, and kind of hold that thing up and away. So when you're taking the upper plenum off, that AC line ain't messing you up. And I've pointed this out in another clip, but I do recommend putting studs in your lower intake. It makes putting the upper on a lot easier, and it makes it keeps the gasket in place while you're doing that. Let's see. The plans have changed. I got the throttle body off the intake, and I was looking at the studs, and that's after I cleaned them up a little bit, they are rough looking. So I'm not fighting that EGR spacer. I'm just gonna, I laid a 65mm gasket on there and took a Sharpie and just marked it. I'm just gonna kind of put a little taper on there, clean it up a little bit, open that up to 65, and call it good. I'm not fighting that thing, and I do plan on putting the Explorer intake on it soon, so I'm not putting the time or the effort in. Ooh, what have we here? The little box of horsepower. Alright, a little bit of a mess. Let's see here. Where's my cutter? Oh, here it is. Alright, so like if you're doing iron heads or iron anything, you can use one of these. Let's see, can you see that? That's like a double cut carbide, and that works great for iron. It does not work good for aluminum. Let's see, this one, what you use for aluminum. It's a single cut carbide, and it does a really good job. I tried using a double cut one time to match a Cobra intake to a set of 185 heads. It took forever and it clogged up. So if you're going to work aluminum, use one of these. Works really well, works really fast. So that's what I'm going to use to dress up the EGR spacer so it'll match the throttle body. And I'm also going to use this beast. My compressor cannot keep up with an air die grinder, so this is a really good alternative.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race with the Fords and never just setting the pace? That story is true, I'm here to say I was driving that Model A. Got a Lincoln motor and it's good to shoot that Model A body makes it look like a puck. Got 8 cylinders and use them all. Got overdrive, just won't stall. With a 4-barrel carb and a juice and sauce, with 411 gears you can really get lost. That's safe to choose, but I ain't scared. The brakes are good, tires fair.
Hey guys, I didn't see you there. Your host again, Richard, and cutting up on it. And I set the throttle body on a minute ago, and it looks pretty well lined up. I touched a couple places where it wasn't quite right, but there it is. A tennis ball fits pretty good as far as blocking the port, so you don't get crud down in there. So that's a handy dandy little tip. I'm gonna hit it next with this, and let's see, this right here, that'll kind of blend it from where I ported it to it tapers, so that'll actually fits really good. That'll make it look really nice and professional. So yeah, and anyway, that way I don't have to really fight the EGR spacer, and go ahead and get this thing back running soon. I got the throttle body on there and it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's a smooth transition from the throttle body to the EGR spacer now. I know you might be thinking, why'd you put a big throttle body on the stock EGR spacer? Well, because I'll take whatever I can get. When a 65 millimeter throttle body will not flow as good as a 65 millimeter EGR spacer. Because of that right there. When you're wide open throttle, you still have your throttle shaft and your blade in there. So the CFM is slightly limited due to that. So I'm glad it's got a bigger throttle body. I wish I could have put a bigger EGR spacer on it, but I'm not too worried about it, just because of that. And plus the stock intake, I'll walk over here. Look at the bottom of the stock intake. Look how tight it necks down. The intake port goes, you go from 65 up to here, and then in here I've got it tapered. And then it's 60, and then it like really tightens up and gets like really small between the bolts. So, it's obviously not a super high performance thing, but it's better than stock. And sometimes better than stock is about as good as I can do. Yeah, buddy, it's alive. Got the timer set around 15 or 16. I got the TPS reset, voltage. Fuel pressure reset, the regulator on back there, and brakes and on. The fuel pressure is easy. My car was actually smoking, so rich. I got it dialed back. I put it at like 41. We'll see how it works. It's alive and well. No coolant leaks. No oil leaks. No fuel leaks. It's a success. It's alive. Let's get this thing on the road. When you're burping a coolant system, it's real nice to have a big boy funnel. I bought this one at Walmart. Put a little more water in there. So, whenever you get the air out of it, waiting on the thermostat to open up, it's nice to have a big boy that fits kind of tight in the neck. I think it actually just opened up. It was, yeah, it's open. It's running now. Okay. Anyway, that's a nice thing to have. There we go. Get the air out of it. Alright guys, it's Thursday night. I'm in the garage. It's kind of dark. Both of my lights are dead, so I'm relying on the garage door light and my work light. So it's kind of dark in here. But it's raining tonight. It's Thursday, so hopefully Mother Nature will get the rain out of her system tonight so I can go race tomorrow night. Got the car in, it's jacked up, changing the oil, and wiring up a tach. So I want to show you one of my little tricks for running wires. It can be kind of a tough thing to do. You know, poking wires down, you know, through all the stuff under the dash. So let me show you that trick, and maybe it'll be helpful to you. So I bought this tach because it's cool and because it's on sale. It's got a shift light with it. It's the auto gauge. It's the cheaper one, but they're more accurate than the stock tach. The reason I bought it, excuse me, is because my factory tach, when I turn my headlights on, it'll quit working. So as it gets darker in the evening, I'm just shifting by ear. If I turn my marker lights on or my headlights on, tach dies, and so does my coolant temperature. So that's why I'm putting a tach in it, rather than chasing down crazy wiring gremlins and replacing printed circuits. I'm just going to put a cool tach in it, like Fast and the Furious. Alright, now as far as stringing wires, I've got my cowl. Is that called a cowl? I don't know. I got brain fart. I got this thing loose. And what I did, because I'm having to run 4 wires through an area I can't get my hands in, I took a coat hanger and I ran the coat hanger the way I want to go. So now what I can do, this tach comes with 4 wires. It's got the one that goes to the coil or the MSD box. It's got a ground. It's got one for the backup light, or the night light, and then power. So what I'm going to do, we'll take this mess of 4 wires. Let's see, anyways, and I'm going to tape it up here to my coat hanger, and then from that point I will pull the coat hanger down, and that'll get all the wires. So that's just a little trick I learned. I'm not an expert. It's not like I work in a stereo shop or anything, but it can be tough getting wires run how you want. So sorry for all the jumbling around, but stay tuned. We'll get this tach hooked up. All right, guys. So the wires are coming down. Here we go. Well, there it is. So, coat hanger, taped up wires, bada bing, bada boom, 4 wires through a tight spot, and no time flat. So, man, I hope that helps y'all. I'll be curious what y'all's tricks are. So if you feel like it, throw down in the comments how you run wires, what's easy for you. But that's the trick: coat hanger, electrical tape, and go ahead and have the coat hanger running the path that you want, and then you just snake it through nice and easy. Hey, we got this thing mounted up and wired up. Let's check it out. Alright, so this right here, if you hadn't had one before, it's where you adjust for your shift light. Just for fun's sake, we'll put it down at 2500, just a demonstration. Oh, looky there. See if we notice any difference. Under one. Let's come back and kind of check it out. Pull up to 15, see what it looks like. On my first Mustang, I noticed that my stock tach was 500 RPM off at the top. So when it was hitting the rev limiter at 6250, my stock tach actually showed that it was down around 6750. But anyway, let's check that light out. Woo-hoo-hoo! Looky there. Some racing stuff right there, baby. Alright, well now I have a tach. Now I'll get to play around with my shift points and see if that helps my ET. Hey guys, just got the car off the trailer here, and we attempted going to the track and it didn't work out, so I decided to bring it by. This is where I work. You can see it in the background. We got a set of scales we use for weighing 18-wheelers for when we load steel and unload. So let's put the car on the scales and see what it weighs. So what I'm going to do is pull the whole thing up on the scales and weigh it out. You know, this isn't, you know, as accurate as, you know, if you had a set of, you know, the race car scales, the 4 individual scales, but I've tested it and it's accurate within about 20 pounds, right? You know, that's how sensitive it is. You know, with 18-wheelers, we load them, I want to say like 80,000 pounds or so. Just depends on how much the truck weighs and such. But yeah, I'm gonna walk in our little hut over here and we'll see what it weighs. There it is, guys. That's pretty good, 2980. Just as a point of reference, Uncle Tony's Mustang, the little 87 he had back in the day that had, you know, 0 options, it weighed 3,060. So, you know, that's not bad. You know, this car has got heat and air, and it's a GT. So, you know, they're a little heavier, but as far as weight loss goes, it doesn't have a sway bar front or rear. It doesn't have the fog light bracket or the front bumper, you know, the crash bumper for the front end. And it doesn't have a smog pump, and it doesn't have a passenger seat. And it has nothing in the trunk. No tire, no spare, no jack, no wrench. It does have a bottle in the trunk, that's it. So, you know, I'm pleased with that. 2980. There's still room for improvement, obviously, but that's not bad. Now let's see what the distribution is. Alright guys, so now the front, just the front is on the scales. The back is just on regular ground. So let's see what the front end weighs. It's fluctuating. I just saw a 1760. It's kind of between, I guess it's balanced out. 1780 is how much the front weighs. Now we'll see what the back weighs. Alright, now with just the back on the scales, let's see what the number is. 1,200. Alright. Well, with a calculator we can figure out what the weight distribution is, so I'll do that next. Alright, I'll see if I can video getting this thing on the trailer. That might be entertaining, especially if I screw up. Here we go. Alright, I'm back up. It just fell off. Shoot. Alright, let's try again. That's a little better. This is awful. Alright guys, I just want to tell y'all about my transmission. It's an AOD with a Bauman shift kit. So it's still, to hold second gear, you still have to do an AOD shuffle. The typical AOD shuffle is pull it down in first. See if y'all see that? Okay. Pull it down in first. When you're ready to hit second, you bump into drive and then pull back into first. That's how you hold second gear. So with that back in first, you're holding second until you're ready to hit third, and then you just bump it up in the drive. Easy peasy. This shift kit, I actually really like the upshift. So I do a half shuffle. So rather than starting in first, I leave it in drive. And as soon as my car hits second, I pull it back into first. And that's how I control my 2-3. Because with this shift kit, the 2-3 is early. And in the instructions it says that, you know, they're forthcoming about, you know, 2-3 being kind of early. So anyways, another thing, oh man, it's a little bit shaky. Well, whatever. This is my nitrous button. I don't know if you can see that, but if everything looks good up here in a second, I'm gonna do a street hit, and y'all get to see that. Let's try out the test, the shift light. simulator time. Full weight of the car is 2980. The front weighs 1780. The rear weighs 1200 even. Ideal weight distribution is, where you at? Ideal is 52-48. That's just what I've heard. I don't know, and I've never had a car with those proportions. Actual weight distribution on this car is 60-40. Ideal would be 52-48, and at the weight the car is currently, ideally it would be split this way. The front would be essentially 1550 and the rear would be 1430. So you can see the difference, 1550 versus 1780, and then on the rear 1200 versus 1430. So one of the things that guys do on really light cars is they'll add a box in the trunk called a ballast box, and depending on what track they are and the prep and their tires and all the other variables, they will add weight or take weight out. So it would, let's see, what's the difference in 1780 and 15? We'll just say, was that 230? Taking 230 off the front of the car would be awesome. That'd be a good goal to have. Taking a fiberglass hood, K-member, A-arms, coilovers, that would all be beneficial. Let's see, the AC, the battery, the power steering, all that's still in the front of this car. Removing that would be awesome. Anyways, just something to look at. You know, with your own car, it may be good for you to weigh it and set some goals. Take so much out of the front. Really good thing is putting the battery in the trunk. I'll be doing that soon to my 95. So that's double awesome because you're taking weight off the front and you're putting it on the back. One other thing, one piece of chalk go. Let's do a drawing. So we got a tire and let's see, the front of the car, and the fender, and yada yada yada. Let's see. Anyway, okay, that's the front of your car. Any weight that you can take off of the front of the car that's in front of the wheels is that's really good. Your battery is in front of the wheels, fog light brackets in front of the wheels, bumper support is in front of the wheels. Those are all good things to remove if you feel safe and comfortable doing it. But yeah, weight in front is awesome. And with the trunk mount deal, you're taking the battery, it's about right here, it's in front of the wheels, and you're putting it in the trunk of the car. And the further you can get it to the back of the trunk, the better you are, because then you're hanging weight over the back of the wheels. So you're actually gaining leverage. So, Mustangs are obviously nose heavy. Dead giveaway is the oil pan on a Fox. If that motor was pushed back more, it would be way better. But on a Mustang, the motor straddles, the front wheels. On a Corvette, I don't know about all of them, but some of the old ones, the front of the motor was like, the crank pulley was like right there, centered on the wheel, and that helps with weight distribution. That helps with balance of the car. Helps with handling and drag racing. So that was kind of long and wordy, but I hope that was worth your while. Guys, it's been 6 weeks since I've raced this car, at least. I think. Anyway, it don't matter, but it's been a long time. It's been 6 weeks, I think. 3 of those weeks, both tracks that I usually go to have canceled due to cold weather. So that's been real sad. So I've been going through withdrawals. So it's been a while since this car's been on the track. I went to Steel today. They had a no prep event, and I was hoping to get some test passes in. And as soon as I got there, I realized, you know, it wasn't going to happen. They run, it still is a quarter-mile track. And for a lot of the no prep events, they'll either run the track backwards. They'll start at the finish line and go towards the beginning, you know, start line. Today they were running from the 8th mile mark to the quarter-mile mark. And they weren't going to run any timing, so I was there. I was there for my time slip. I was there to see if I could get a 10th or 2 or 3 out of it, if I could adjust my timing, if I could get my fuel pressure right. That's what I was there for. So didn't work out. I was like, man, I just pulled in the parking lot, turned around, and I had some other errands to run. So that's why there's no track footage. I just didn't get to run today. It's getting colder. Hopefully it'll warm up. Alabama's usually, you know, we get down in the teens, we get down in the 10s sometimes, but it's usually not this cold. This week it was actually colder in Alabama than it was in Alaska. So that was weird. But hopefully before the tracks close, I can make it and we can get this car dialed in, see if we can find that 790 on spray, see if we can find that 890 on motor, maybe an 880. I'll be happy with improvement. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, Richard, thank you so much for filming all that. I know it's not easy to be in the middle of a job, get the camera out, explain what you're doing. So thank you. Too bad the track didn't work out, but I'm glad we got to see the nitrous hit and the lesson in weight distribution, and the fun facts about Uncle Tony DeFeo's Mustang, the weight his was whenever he ran the times back in the, what was 87. But thank you, and until next time.